Yeah, both B.
Okay. Yeah, let's discuss. Let's discuss. So you all of you got it correct, right? So I told you it's a very basic, simple question which I have given here to understand the this particular concept what we have, right? Which of the following is the greatest risk that an information security manager must address when an organization rapidly adopts the cloud services without adequate governance, right? So there is no governance set up. They don't have any policies. They don't have any framework. They don't have any guidelines, and they just started adopting the cloud service provider, right? Increased complexity in managing multiple cloud vendor, definitely it's going to be the problem, right? Let us go with the other options, right? See, difficulty in integrating cloud security log with on-premise security SIM solution. This is one of the thing, right? This is not the primary reason here, right? This is a practitioner like question, like option, right? That's why I don't go with this. Reduce control over physical security. So you already know that in the cloud you don't have any control over the physical security, right? So that's why this option is also incorrect. So that's why the correct option here is option B, right? Because when you don't have any governance, there can be a data exfiltration due to misconfiguration the cloud security setting. Right. Next one, which of the following is represent the best approach for an information security manager to regularly measure and report on the effectiveness of information security program to executive management? So in your organization also, like what is the best method you do, right? You actually report them the matrices, right? You will not be providing them the raw vulnerability management report, right? And they'll not be able to, they don't have time and effort or energy, and they'll not be able to understand if you share them the detailed list of the security incident, right? And then it's not a good approach even when there is an accident incident, but then only you are informing them, right? That's why the correct option here is B. Three
Sushant,
more.
sorry,
Yeah,
can you
yeah,
just go
Vash.
back
Yeah.
just on the previous slide? I think just I know in terms of something that I've understood also is by probably looking at the keywords, um, in terms of the question. I know greatest and the best are definitely highlighted there. I think the way I read it was, at least from a first question perspective, though there is no governance, I think what kind of stood out for me was rapidly adopting, right? So when you do a rapid adoption, there's obviously things. So for me, the keywords that I kind of selected is on the rapidly adopt, and then obviously the governance part. And then the second one, because it says regularly measure and report, I think the best fit out of these were, the B. So the way I read the questions is this: is this the right approach to understand, what are the keywords within the question? I mean, what are the keywords in the question, and what exactly is the question? And then kind of, read back and see what those answers fit in.
Yes, that's what I told, right? First read the question, then read the options again, then again go back, read the question. So by
Okay.
this, you will be able to understand, and as you saw, right, I eliminated other options and I gave the reasoning also. So same thing, you need to do it in your mind also. So whenever you are solving the questions also, that time also just have that reasoning in your mind. Okay, if this is incorrect, so why it is incorrect? Accordingly, you can just mark it as incorrect,
Okay. Thank you.
rather than just selecting that this is the correct option and ignoring others. Read each and every option, see that why this option is correct, why this option isn't correct, and then you'll be able to go to the right option.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's solve a few more questions on those other three keywords. And let's discuss the correct answers. Yeah, most of you got it correct. So first question is talking about the sequence. First means the sequence, right? Upon discovering a potential information security incident, which of the following is the first action an information security manager should ensure is taken, right? Notify all affected external stakeholders. Yes, you will be doing this step, right? Now go to the next option. Isolate the affected system to prevent the further spread of incident. Definitely, this B will comes before A, right? So that's why this is eliminated. Conduct a detailed forensic analysis to identify the root cause. This will also come after the B, eliminated. And restore affected system from the latest known group backup. This will also come after the B. So first, as soon as you get an incident, you will first validate it, and the next you will try to kind of reduce the impact, right? How you will do that? You will isolate that affected system. So that's why correct option is B. Fourth, when determining the information security strategy, which factor should the information security manager consider most significantly, right? Most significantly, like most regularly used, right? Which is the most important thing here, right? The latest technology trend and the vendor offering, not this is not going to the most important, right? You whenever you create a strategy, you don't just go with the latest trends and those things, right? Uh, Overall business objective and risk appetite looks like a good option. The current skill set and training level of the security team, definitely this is an important thing, but not important than B, right? And the benchmarking against industry leader in the security spending. So maybe you will be doing it as part of the exercise, but not the most important thing. The most important thing is always about your business objective and the risk appetite of your organization, right? What is the main purpose of establishing an information security governance framework within an organization, right? So governance means overall management, right, around the security, right? And why you do that? To ensure that the compliance with all applicable regulatory, yes, you will be able to ensure that, but not with the all of them, right? That's not the primary reason here. To define technical security controls of the IT system, definitely this is the reason you do, but not the primary one, right? To provide strategic directions, establish accountability, and ensure that the information security support business objective. This is the primary reason which you have. I hope with this question, the keywords are clear to all of you.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on to the topic. Yeah. Now we saw that there are four domains, right? So, and how those four domains are interrelated. It's very important to understand that, right? That's why I told all of you just don't go by the weightage which is assigned to the domain. However, all the domains are interconnected, interrelated, right? And even tell me what is do you mean by governance? What is governance?
Appropriate oversight over the process.
Hmm? Yes, yes. Anyone else?
So, to ensure that whatever process policies are defined, they are being followed as expected. Mm, there is no deviation on that, and they are giving the expected results as well.
Yes. So let me tell you, governance is everywhere, be it the organization. So all of you, I hope all of you here from the India only, right? Or anyone staying abroad.
I'm from Sydney.
No, I'm based out in Dubai.
Okay. All right. But all of you might be understanding how things work in the India, right? So in India, you know, right? So India, we have elected government, right? So that particular elected government, then we have a prime minister, right? and those people actually they appoint a president of India, right? And those the prime under the prime minister there are two houses, right? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, right? And under those two houses, then you all the policies, all the bills, and everything whenever they get created, they are actually getting executed. They are being kind of voted and then accordingly approved, right? And all those bills are what in the Indian Penal Code, and there are other bills also which are being passed. They are actually making sure that there is a proper governance in India, there's proper law and order in India, right? Same thing now in the organization, right? So in the organization, you have a board of directors, right? They are the senior most people in the organization, right? Board of directors. Board of directors are actually they provide the oversight, right? They are group of maybe the chairman of the company, some biggest shareholder. Other than that, in board of directors, there is a diversity, and as per the country their laws, right? They will have one representation from some member from some technical team, member from some business, some senior people. So this board of directors, they provide the oversight, right? Then board of directors, they select the CEO, right? They select the CEO, right? And once they select the CEO, then CEO appoints the senior management. And what is the senior management? Senior management is chief operation officer, chief financial officer, chief technology officer, right? You might have heard of these C class executives, right? Which are there in the organization. Then they appoint the senior management, right? Now this senior management, now they appoint individual heads, right? Sometimes CISO in few organizations also considered as a senior management, but generally in the most of the organization you will see CISO generally reporting to either CTO or CIO. Then they appoint, then CEO, CISO or CTO, they appoint the CISO. Other than that, other functions also you might have heard of chief head of head HR officer, head of operations, or those things, right? Though there are other C executives which are under reporting to them, not directly to the CEO, right? Then CISO, then they appoint the CISO. Now, what is the responsibility of CISO? Responsibility of CISO is to create a security strategy, right? Establish a security governance in the organization, right? So board of director and CEO, they all create an organization strategy on the basis of vision and mission. If you have a vision and mission, right? On the basis of the vision mission, then you create organization strategy. Then once this is done, then the CTO will create IT strategy and the CISO will create an information security strategy. That's how the governance is established in the organization, right? So this security governance, this mandate, because once you have a governance, then only you will be able to manage the risk, right? In the risk management, right? So risk management is a process where you have three things, right? First, you identify risk, risk identification, risk analysis, and risk treatment. So risk identification, so we have a dedicated chapter for it. Just I am covering it at high level. Risk identification, you identify assets, right? Then you identify threats, you identify vulnerabilities, right? So you first create an inventory of everything, then you see what are the threats against all those things. That's why you have a threat mapping framework. There are Stride and FASTA and all those kind of the threat mapping frameworks which are there, which you can use. And then you identify vulnerabilities, right? Vulnerabilities through pen testing, vulnerabilities through automated testing, right? Like in the organization, you have a Qualys, Nessus, and all those tools to identify the vulnerabilities, right? Then you do risk analysis. Once you have the list of the risk after this process, then you analyze those risks. So you do a quantitative assessment, then you do the qualitative assessment, right? Quantitative means you do in form of the assigning some numerical values, dollar values to things, right? And then you using the numerical formulas and all, you calculate those things. I'm coming at very high level. However, we will be deep diving on each and everything what we are discussing here in the next topics and all those domains. And in the qualitative, which is most used in the organization, you would have seen this particular thing brings the high risk, there's the critical risk, there's the moderate risk, there's the low risk, and the treatment. And there are 4 treatment options which we do, like mitigate, accept, right, avoid, and transfer. So that's how you establish a risk management, right? Then risk management, once you have the risk, you establish this, then it helps you establish a security program, because whatever risks are there in the organization, as per that only you will be building a program, right? Because a financial organization may have a different kind of risk, maybe manufacturing organization will have a different kind of risk, maybe other kind of, maybe consulting organization may have a different kind of risk. So each and every organization have a different sort of risk, right? And as per risk, then you create a program, because the financial organization, they need to secure the data and the finances, right? They are more toward the data. But for the manufacturing, IT, OT security is very important, because they have an industrial plant, and those OT infrastructure is running over there, and if there is any glitch in that, then they are affected, right? Consulting may have a different priority. So as per this, then you create a security program, right? Where you have in your organization also, you would have seen security program means what? Under CISO, you have CISO design of the policies, strategies, right? He makes sure that proper guidelines, frameworks, and everything is established. But under CISO, you would have seen the multiple departments, right? There is a IA, and there is one SOC as a function. There is AppSec as a function, right? Then there is a GRC as a function. So these everything, what overall this is a program. So CISO heads this security program under which the multiple functions are running, right? And once you have a program, then you are able to manage the incidents. So what are the incidents, right? Any malware infection, any data breach, any ransomware, or maybe any business continuity related issues, right? Maybe your data center is down, or there is any kind of a fire in the building, there is any natural disaster, and which has caused the issue of the operations. So you handle those incidents. So I hope with this, all of you clear that how each and every domain is connected with each other. Yes. So and to establish that particular governance, right? What you do, security strategy. What it do, it gives you vision and the directions. Like suppose in my organization, so strategy is generally 3 to 5 years, right? In my organization, or maybe in a lot of organizations these days, there is a race for AI, right? Now the board of directors, they thought that yes, we would like to introduce the AI in our organization to improve the productivity in our employees, right? The way they are doing, and also would like to be kind of updated in the market what we have, right? So they told, okay, let's introduce AI in the organization, right? Let's look for the new tools, new technologies which can be adopted, and they created 3 to 5 year plan. That's what the board of directors told. So that's how then the strategy will come into the picture, where CEO will say, okay, let's work towards it, and then create a roadmap, create a plan, and start adopting this. Now the requirement comes to the CISO. So before CISO, the CTO will say, okay, then he'll create a business case. He will say, okay, which all tools and technologies we can use. He'll say, okay, we can use Copilot, or maybe some other tools. Maybe we will be establishing some agentic AI frameworks, right? We will be doing the training and those things, right? Everything he did. Now it comes to the CISO. Now CISO will do what? CISO want to protect these things, right? He want to make sure all the tools, technologies which our organization is actually adopting as part of this AI, all of them have are protected adequately, right? That's why then he will create a security strategy where he will define this. Okay, he'll give the vision and the direction. He will say, okay, we will need the AI governance, right? We need to train all our employees on the AI related aspects. We need to train our SOC team to handle AI related issues, right? We need to train our software developers and include the specific vulnerabilities or issues related to SDLC whenever they are developing the products related to, so that any specific vulnerability related to AI not getting into it, right? Once you have, then you create a policies. So you will create a AI, maybe AI use case policy or some other policies which you want to establish this thing. You will create that policies, and the policies actually gives you guidelines and the rules to run the program. And this overall helps you implement a strategy. That's how this strategy, policy, and program is connected, with each other. This, yeah. We will discuss that high level, right? So information security is overall umbrella, right? So and cyber security makes sure the digital part of the security, right? Like suppose I have a data center. Data center, I have multiple servers, right? So before a person enter into the data center outside, I might have one CCTV camera, right, which is continuously watching the entry door, right? Once person approach, then he need to use maybe, or you can have a any biometric or any form of the special security which you have, so that person enter that. Once he enters that, then only he'll be able to access the data, right? This is the physical part of the security. It's there is no data or nothing related to the data over here, right? It's all purely related to the physical part of security, right? So this comes as the information security because there is the data residing on these servers which need to be protected. That's why you have created this physical layer. So cybersecurity would be on these servers. Now you have the data, right? You have a digital information. That's why in the servers, then you will maybe installing some antivirus software. You will be installing some EDR, right? You will place these servers within firewall. So that's how the digital security is ensured, right? You have identity and access management related policies and everything you have in place to make sure the cyber security is ensured. Now, governance and management. And even we discussed about the governance. So anyone can tell me the difference between the governance and the management? Okay, let me explain. So governance is actually providing an overall umbrella, right? It is providing overall insight, right? Like in the if I see in terms of the organization, so the CEO, he created a business vision strategy, right? He provided an overall insight to the organization. Okay, we want to establish an AI in the organization. We want to adopt the AI. That's why now other people, right? Now then other senior management executive, now they'll provide the governance. They'll say, okay, for to fulfill the vision of the board of director and CEO, now we will be looking for any new tools, any new technologies which need to be adopted. Now the management will do what? Now the management will create a business case. Management will look for the new tools. They will establish those tools. They will make sure that those tools are adequately protected. Adequately, they are looking for any issues and things, right? So here you see, right? So the governance do what? They evaluate, they direct, and then they manage. But the management, it do the what? It do the planning. It do the building of the product. It ensures the operations and run part of it, and it makes sure that the things are monitored. It's just for the knowledge. It's not for part of the syllabus of CISM. Till now, we have not yet started with the syllabus of the CISM. Now we will be starting the syllabus. From here onward, the syllabus of the CISM will start. So till now, we were only discussing about the strategy. I was just setting up the context for the CISM. Now, from here onwards, now the actual syllabus of the CISM will start. So yeah. So this particular domain has total weightage of 17%. So you can expect approximately 25 questions from this domain. So that's what comes as 17%, right? So these many questions will come. And this is the objective of this domain, right? So the domain is divided into two parts. First one is the enterprise security governance. Second part is the information security strategy, right? So in this, we'll be discussing on these things, right? And this we'll be discussing on these things. This is the actual syllabus of this domain, which is defined by the ISACA. Yes. So anyone can tell me what do you mean by confidentiality, integrity, availability? Because with this, the security is incomplete.
Confidentiality is just ensuring that it's not it's the data is protected. There is security around it. Integrity is just ensuring the completeness and accuracy, like it says here. And then availability is at any point of time. If I need a data, I'm able to retrieve the data.
Okay, anyone else would like to try?
So I believe confidentiality is about uh, not providing unauthorized access of information or data. Integrity is that there is no change into the provided information or it is intact. And availability is that is all the time it is available for authorized access.
Okay. So let's take very simple example, right? You have your, all of you might be using the Gmail, right? You have your Gmail, right? So how do you make sure the confidentiality? Confidentiality means only, suppose I take the, maybe Vaishak. So maybe Vaishak, he want to access his Gmail account. How he'll make sure that he's the only one who is accessing his account. That's why what he has one login ID, one password, right? Through this, he's making sure that only he is able to access the information, right? Maybe he may create one MFA through OTP or some other method, right? Maybe MFA using some application in his mobile where he received a token and then he log in. So this particular thing is making sure that only Vaishak is able to log in into the Gmail account. Same thing with your online banking, right? How you make sure that only the person who is authorized, he's only accessing the account, right? That's why you have the identity and access management, right? Which makes sure that the only the authorized person is accessing the information, right? Now let's come the integrity, which makes sure the accuracy of the data and the accuracy of information. Now you he sent out one email to his friend. Now he want to make sure that the email data and email content reaches as he sent it to him. There are no changes, there are no alteration to it. So that accuracy is being maintained, right? How that accuracy is making, he is making sure, right? That accuracy, he is creating a hash. Anyone here who is not aware about the hashing? I hope then everyone is aware of the hashing, right? Hashing is a kind of the algorithm. So like suppose you have a data, let's take CISM. This is the string. So I'll use a hash algorithm to create a hash out of it, right? And and once you create a hash, then that hash value is generated, and that hash value is transferred to the person. Now person cannot generate a data out of it. He can, whatever data he has received, again he'll use the same algorithm, create a hash, and then the hash value is compared. If even if you change a small thing in the hash, that entire data and integrity is lost. So through hashing, you make sure the integrity uh, is there in the information which you are transmitting. Then you have the availability of the information, right? So availability of the Gmail is a SaaS application, and you want to access, it should be available. So you saw recently there was an issue with the AWS, right? AWS security incident. Anyone had heard of? Abhi, it just happened recently.
No.
Okay. So you can read about it. So the AWS, right? AWS was hit with a major security. It was not a security incident. It was related to availability. So there was some technical glitch in one of their configuration, due to which there were multiple AWS services which were not available for 2 days all around the world. You can Google, you will be able to find that data and news, right? So availability means whenever you want to access the services, whenever you want to access the information, it should be available to you. Yeah. So this is a kind of a flow map of this particular domain, right? So so we have we'll be starting with the strategy, where we'll be talking about the at the high level, the risk assessment, policy creation, risk allocation. Then we have one section related to matrix and the monitoring, right? How to create a matrix, right? And then there is a specific section related to the roles and responsibility in cybersecurity. So these are the different topics which we'll be covering under this particular domain. Yes. So security, if you see in the organization, you leave any product-based companies and all those who have some security product, but in the most of the organization, security actually does not bring any revenue. Does security bring the revenue? Like, is it a revenue generation now? Through security, you'll be able to generate some revenue. You'll be able to show the profit. Never. So how the value is created? Value is created if you are able to provide adequate protection of the assets, right? If you are able to make sure whatever budget is allocated to you, in within that budget itself, you are able to get the maximum out of it, right? That's how the value is created. Because if organization is hit with one data breach, imagine the kind of cost they'll be spending to bring back everything to the normal. A lot of regulatory and a lot of those fines would come into the place, right? So that's why it's very important to make sure that information security is creating the value, right? And how do you make sure this? Optimizing the security value equation, right? You realize the benefit at the optimal resources, right? Because every organization, like big organization with $1 trillion revenue, may afford a big security team of 400, 500 people. But for the small organization, they might be operating in 10 to 15 member team, right? In 10 to 15 member team only, they need to make sure the entire security is ensured, right? They may not have those sophisticated and those very complicated tools also with them, but still they are making sure that adequate amount of security is provided. Now you need to calibrate to the organization priorities and the industrial contracts, right? Whatever are the organization priorities, like we discussed the example related to AI, right? Now organization want to adopt an AI. Now you want to make sure that you have a adequate security governance framework around AI, that AI tool and AI model which are being deployed, they are adequately protected, right? Now stakeholder driven approach. So security is not only like if a CISO thinks that a 20 character password is very strong, he cannot enforce each and every person in the organization that everyone should set a 20 character password because it's very strong in nature, right? That's why you need to always see stakeholder priorities, what they want to do. That's why you may tell, okay, let's for the generic account, for maybe the normal individual user account, let's set a 12 character password. For the privilege account, let's set a 16 character password. And on top of that, for this, you will enable a SSO also, single sign-on, so that people need not to remember this password each and every time. Once they log in, once in using their login ID and password, they are validated. Then within the organization, all the application where he is authorized to access, he can use the SSO and get into those applications, right? So it need to be decided as per the stakeholder, right? Then the strategic transformation, right? So that's why it's very important for the CISO to make sure that the uh, uh, all the stakeholder requirement are converted into the actionable strategy. All the things they are taking care into consideration related to the regulations, related to the policy, and those things are being taken care. So first thing in the value for the value delivery, right? You do a cost value proportionality, right? So you want to make sure the security investment or the security budget, whatever has been allocated to CISO by the CEO or maybe by the CTO, that particular budget is providing the appropriate level of security to all this. It should not happen that one class of assets are protected, but other class are vulnerable, right? And you need to make sure that all the controls which are there, they are optimized, right? So what are security control? You may have a digital control, right? You have one uh, firewall, right? You may have the tools like EDR, antivirus, right? And then apart from that, you have IAM related control, right? You have a PAM, maybe kind of a tool, kind of CyberArk and all those things you have established in the organization, right? So these are all the controls, right, which you have in place to make sure that the adequate amount of security is provided, right? Now these controls need to be optimized also, right? So the EDR, what you have is the EDR is providing the adequate level of security. You need to configure this product in such a manner so that they are providing the maximum level of protection, right? Now there was a recent security incident just this week only in the Gujarat where there was an OT attack where the attackers they had the security camera of the multiple hospitals, right, in mainly the maternity in the gynae ward, where they have the camera that what the doctor is doing, right, to keep a watch on the ladies, and then that camera feed was hacked because they were using that admin 123 as a default password, and those videos were online being sold on multiple dark web forums and the Telegram channel. So you imagine. So it means the controls is not optimized, right? They have the security camera in place to provide the adequate security and all, but that particular camera, the password is default password which they have set. So that's why it's very important to optimize the control, right, and enable the business, right? Security should always help the business. Security should make sure that all the business objectives are being met, right, and resource efficiency. So maybe you have a 10 engineers team. So that 10 engineer team, you should make sure that the 10 engineer team is kind of providing the adequate level of security. Yeah. And even people keep hearing this GRC. And even tell me, what is this GRC? Governance, risk, and compliance. What do you mean by GRC?
Probably I would say governance more from an oversight. Risk is ensuring, there are you identify the risk within your organization, and compliance is ensuring that you are able to meet the policies internally and externally as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me tell you. So the governance, right? So governance we already discussed, right? Governance is overall strategy, policies, directions, right? Those are there. You have a board of director, you have a senior management, then you have a layer of other executives like CISO, chief HR officer, and those things, right? They all overall establish a governance for the organization, right? Now comes to the security, right? So for the security, CISO make sure the governance is there. How? He will make sure that there is a proper security strategy, and this security strategy is aligned to the organization strategy. Because if suppose the organization is saying that we want to move from on-prem to the cloud, we want to move from that setting by next 3 years. But still, the CISO is still hiring the people for the management of the infrastructure security, on-prem infrastructure, rather than training people on the cloud. So there's a gap, right? That's why it's very important the security strategy is mapped to the organization strategy, right? The CISO should make sure that whatever direction are there, he's following them, right? So governance provide the corporate management, right? Management of overall corporate, right? Strategy and the policy management, right? Then the risk. So once you have a proper strategy, then you will be able, you want to identify the risk, right? So actually, the cyber security is a risk management only. You are managing the IT related risk, right? Digital related risk. That's what you are managing, right? As a cyber security professional. So this will make sure that you are able to identify, you are able to mitigate, you are able to analyze, and you are able to bring those risks to an acceptable level. Can you eliminate the risk? Is it possible to eliminate the risk entirely?
No.
You cannot. You can never eliminate the risk. Even if you deploy any sophisticated number of controls, anything you have in place, still there's going to be risk. So I gave you example of AWS. You imagine the kind of controls and kind of things AWS would have to make sure that their AWS infrastructure is always available to their customers, right? But still they had an incident. So a small glitch. You would have heard about the CrowdStrike, which happened last year. CrowdStrike Microsoft event, where all around the world there was a blue death screen which was coming, and for some hours, every all world whole world came to halt because of one small change management related issues. They deployed one patch, or they deployed one security patch, and that patch did not work properly. So that's why it's very important to make sure that all the risks are identified, mitigated, treated, and you cannot remove that risk entirely to 100%. There is always a risk left. And the compliance. So once you have this in place, you will be able to comply to all the rules, laws, right? All the regulations, right? You have the GDPR, you have DPDP, which recently came in India, right? You have the rules and guidelines issued by the RBI. So all these rules, laws, and regulations, you have HIPAA for the healthcare industry. So all these rules, regulations, laws you have, then you will be able to comply to them, right? Because these rules, regulations, and laws they want some kind of control to be in place to kind of align to them, right? That's how you will be able to ensure the compliance. Any questions so far? Whatever we discussed. So we'll start this maybe after a break. Let's take a 15-minute break and then we'll start from here. But still, if anyone has any questions before we start the break. Anyone? Any question on this? Whatever we discussed so far?
No, nothing from me.
All right, then let's take a 15-minute break and then see you all after the 15-minute break. All right. So everyone is back. Shall we start?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We'll start from this. Yeah. So far we discussed about the governance, risk, and compliance, right? So let's discuss about the enterprise governance. How the governance work in an enterprise, right? So there are two things. First thing, at the roles wise governance, how a role wise governance is established, right? So role-wise governance is established. So we have the categories of roles, right? So we have every organization, they have a board of directors, right? Board of directors are the one those who oversee entire organization, right? And the board of directors, they appoint the CEO, right? They appoint CEO, CFO, COO, those things, right? And then these people appoint the senior management and other executives, right? Like CTO, CIO, maybe some organization had chief risk officer, chief CHRO, right? And then under them, then we have even some organization. CISO is also part of the senior management, right? CISO, right? And then you have the CISO, right? Not in terms of the strategy, right? So so board of directors gives the vision and the mission. They gives this what's the vision, what is the mission, what organization want to achieve, right? Where they want to go. So vision, mission, if you see, it's very high level statement, right? And in we want to become the best supplier in the world, or we want to become the best company in this particular domain. Such kind of vision, mission you would have seen, right? Now on the basis of that, CEO create a org strategy. So this org strategy is what? It sets the direction for the organization, right? What organization, as an organization, they want to achieve, right? So they want to adopt AI, they want to move into, they want to do merger and acquisition, they want to expand their business in some new country, they want to expand the business in some new area, right? In a new vertical, right? These all things are given as per the high level statement in the strategy, right? And generally minimum it's for the 5 years, but some organization, those who are rapidly growing, they create it for 3 to 5 years. So that's the minimum time it's there, right? Now senior management, they create their individual strategies, but we are in the security certification, so then we'll talk about CTO. So CTO or CIO, they will create an IT strategy of the organization. This IT strategy will overall talk about the tools, technologies, resourcing, budgeting, and everything, right? Now, on the basis of that, CISO will create a security strategy. Now, on the basis of security strategy, it will set the direction. Now, on the basis of security strategy, then we will create, he'll create the uh, policy, procedure, guideline, right? These things are created, and on the basis of that, then you have a tactical plan and the operational plan, right? So that's how the overall thing work in the organization, right? So if so, as we saw about the enterprise governance, right? So governance, actually what it does, it establishes the organizational direction through policies, procedure, and the strategic objective, right? While ensuring that accountability and proper resource are allocated, right? It gives the direction, right? It says the strategic objective and the organization goals are aligned with the stakeholder values. So stakeholders can be the clients, your partners, or maybe the internal stakeholders, internal business owners, and those things. All those are stakeholders, right? So that's why you want to make sure that whatever goals and whatever you have defined, right, they are aligned to their values, right? And once you have this, then you establish a control, right? Control can be in the form of the policy, control can be in the form of the tools and technologies, control can be in the form of the process. Because you want to make sure that the strategy and those things you have established, there is an oversight on top of it, right? You are continuously monitoring the KPIs, KRIs, you are reporting, and as per that, you are changing the program accordingly, right? And once you have this, then you will be able to adhere to the laws, regulations, and the internal policies. So there are multiple laws, regulatory bodies around there, which you will be able to comply to, you will be adhere to them, and then you will be able to follow those things, right? And then you do the performance measurement. So there is a statement, right, which I always say to everyone, right? So till the time if you don't measure, right, you cannot improve the process. So let's take a very simple example, right? So there is a SOC team in your organization, right? And SOC team has generally matrices like mean time to detect, mean time to respond, right? This is what mean time to detect means, that how much time it took for them to detect an security incident. Mean time to respond means once the security incident is detected, how much time it takes them to actually respond to that security incident. So these are actually the kind of the matrices which SOC team has, right? Now these matrices will help stock manager or the security manager to improve the performance, overall performance of the stock, right? Because if you're not measuring them, you're not measuring the performance, you're not measuring that how much time it is taking organization to deploy the patch, how much time it is taking organization to actually remove the vulnerabilities from the environment, then you'll not be able to improve that performance, right? You'll not be able to improve that particular function. So that's why it's very important to establish the proper KPI. So that's when you might be doing in your organization, right? You might be reporting those KPIs, KRIs in form of the dashboard. So organization they have created lucrative PPI dashboards and all, and on those dashboards, then you report these things. So, like, if I have a very good governance in the organization, right? I have a good strategy. I have placed the policies. I am following all the rules, regulation, laws. I'm able to ensure the compliance. I have a good KPI, KRI, and the matrix defined. Now, what's going to be the outcome which I'll be able to achieve, right? First thing is the strategic alignment. So strategic alignment is what? I'll be able to align my security strategy to my organization strategy. So we discussed that example of the AI, right? Organization now board of director and the CEO, he decided, okay, let's move into the AI. Now you would have seen a lot of layoffs. These are happening these days, right? So there was a news about Microsoft that why they laid off so many people, because they want to invest that money which they were currently investing on some other initiative and the businesses. So they remove those initiative. Now they want to invest the $80 billion in the AI capabilities. So that's how the strategy is designed, right? You create a strategy and then you move the funds and those resources, those allocations in that particular direction, right? And as per that, then the security manager, CISO, and all, they design their security strategy and they want to make sure that they align to the organization goal. Now, organization want to move. Suppose it's old organization, the 100% infrastructure is on-prem, you are maintaining a on-prem uh, data center, right? Now you want to move from an on-prem data center to the cloud. You want to move maybe 70% of infrastructure to the cloud. So that's the strategy which organization told. Now, as per the strategy, now CISO need to make sure, okay, he has a proper governance. He adopted some framework which he is using to create a controls. Then he has adopted proper adequate CSPM tool, cloud security posture management. So like you would have heard about the other tools, right? The CSPM is a tool which makes sure that all the policies, all the controls, they are deployed in the cloud, and those policies and controls are monitored. So that's what the CSPM do. It's not their part of syllabus. I'm just telling you as part of the knowledge, right? Now, once you have a strategic alignment, you will be able to manage the risk properly. You will be able to mitigate those risks. You will be able to reduce those risks to an appropriate level, right? At an acceptable level, right? That's what you want to make sure, right? Now the value delivery. So you want to deliver the value, right? Whatever security investment you have, whatever number of resources organization has given to you want to make sure that all those security tools are properly optimized, right? They are able to provide a better level of security, right? Organization is protected. Now organization has deployed, given a PAM or other things they you have deployed, but still the security is coming to the default. You are not yet even reset a default password, then you will get breached. I gave that classic example of recent attack which took place in the Gujarat-based healthcare industries, right? So they all the cameras, they were on the default password admin 123. So people, actually hackers, they get access to them, and now they're selling those videos. Now resource management. So whenever you have this everything, right, you want to manage the resources effectively, right? So you, and resources is not only in terms of the people, right? You have the tools and technologies, right? You have the data, you have everything, right? You have the infrastructure. So all those infrastructure, everything what you have in the organization, that need to be managed properly. That need to be managed well within time, right? Now, with this, you'll be able to better manage the performance. So you'll be able to monitor, report on the security processes to make sure that the objectives are achieved, right? And then the integration. So you will be able to, with the better governance, you will make sure that you are able to integrate all the relevant assurance processes, assurance factors to actually to all the businesses, all the security functions which you have. Charter. Anyone here who comes from a project management background or has worked on any projects as a project manager?
Yes, Sushant, I have been project manager in my previous profile.
Okay, so you can please tell me what's the charter?
So charter gives basically it's a document before initiating any project, which gives the concurrence or buy-in to initiate any project from the top management, which has certain high-level information such as the objective, high-level timelines, high-level risks are captured, and yeah, things like that. So it's a high-level
Okay.
document which gives an overview about the project, and as an output, it provides a buy-in from the higher management to initiate the project.
Correct. Same thing is with the security also, right? So once the CIO or the CTO, he has given a budget, he has allocated a budget to the CISO, right? Or the, and here in the exam, right, in the questions, you may find, so a lot of places you will find the question as termed as security manager. Consider security manager as a CISO only. Don't think security manager as a normal manager which are there in your organization managing individual teams. That security manager in all the questions are reference to the CISO only, the one who is managing entire cybersecurity. So don't get confused. And yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, that don't attempt the question from the current scenario in your organization. If you take that approach, you take that thing, what is happening in your organization, and then you are attempting the question, you may end up getting it incorrect. Approach the question the way I'm teaching you here, the way ISACA want. So approach the question from the ISACA things, because this is not a vendor agnostic exam, right? It's not a vendor based or the organization based. So it's overall for all that organization best practices. That's what they want to talk. So that's why never approach a question what is happening in your current organization. So security charter, right? So once the budget and everything is allocated, now security manager, he should get an official go ahead or everything, right? It's a high level document, right? Right. So this high level document, it contains the scope, it contains the responsibility, it contains the overall strategy, what they want to achieve. Like suppose we took an example of the AI, right? So now further establishing an AI, now in the charter, the security manager will say, okay, I want to establish one AI governance team, right? I want to establish one AppSec team, those who will be AI application security team, right? I want team of the ML ops engineer, right? Sec ML ops engineer, right? So these all things he wants. So these are the capabilities he want to establish. The charter will give him authority. Charter will give him the budget. Charter will give him the even charter will include the high level milestone. Milestone means that within 6 months I'll establish the security governance team by adopting to the security framework, right? Then in this time frame I'll be getting this particular capabilities. That's how it is done, right? So it's a charter is a formally secure, so it formalizes the security boundaries, responsibilities, and authority through clear board approved documentation. Board approved, or maybe it can be approved by the CEO, right? It gives you a strategic alignment, right? It defines the total overall security scope, right? So that that scope is aligned to the organization strategy. It establishes an accountability framework, right? Establishes the unambiguous lines of responsibilities, right? What he's responsible, accountable, what are the deliverables are expected out of him. That is established through charter. Yes. So we discussed about the enterprise governance, right? Now discussed about the security governance, right? So enterprise governance consists of the board of directors, organization strategy, organization vision, mission. Does someone want to say something? Yeah. So enterprise governance establishes an overall overarching or maybe overall umbrella which is there in the organization, right? Now on top of it, you want to make sure that you have a proper security governance, right? So security governance will make sure that adequate amount of the security is there, proper frameworks are adopted, right? You have proper policies defined, you have proper security strategy in place, right? So what is achieved through this, right? So first thing, you will be able to adopt a good risk management framework, right? So there are frameworks like you would have heard of NIST, CISM, NIST cybersecurity framework, right? So there are other frameworks also, like there is a COBIT, there is a ITIL, right? So these are frameworks, right? You adopt these framework to make sure that the effective governance is established in the organization, right? Then the second comes the business alignment, right? You will be able to make sure that all the business objectives which are defined in the organization are able to achieve. Like I took an example, right? Organization want to move from on-prem to cloud, right? So if they are moving, CISO also need to be aligned to this, right? So CISO need to establish the capabilities related to cloud, right? So CISO need to establish one cloud security team. He need to allocate the budget for the CSPM solution, right? He need to make sure that the infrastructure current team, those people, those are handling the internal infrastructure security, they are trained in the cloud. So that's how it's done, right? And then he will be able to provide a strategic oversight, right? Executive level monitoring, reporting, right? So that you are reporting continuously what is the success, what are the failures, those things. As per that, these executives will provide you the feedback, right? And the accountability structure, right? So you would have heard about the RASI matrix, which is defined on, right? Who is responsible, who is accountable, who is consulted, who is informed. So with this, you will be able to even define the proper accountability, right? Who is accountable for what? Who is accountable for doing what, right? So who is actually the ultimate accountable for the security in the organization? Anyone tell me who is the ultimate accountable for the security?
Everyone.
Ultimate accountability is not with everyone. Everyone is responsible for the security, but ultimate accountability is with the board and the senior management.
Okay.
So in the questions, any questions where you see ultimate accountable, always the answer is the board of director and the senior management. Why? Because have you heard anywhere in the news that so and so named employee clicked on a phishing email due to which there was a data breach in the organization? So that particular person is jailed for that. You will never see that. They will always say that the organization has suffered a data breach due to a phishing email. That's it. So that's why the ultimate. So who will answer to the media? Who will answer to the board? Right? Everything will be done by the senior management and the boards. Right? They will are the ultimate accountable. Like suppose tomorrow I am an organization and let's take same example of the cloud. Right? I have hosted my infrastructure in the Azure. Now, if there was an issue with the Azure due to which my data got breached, not due to my configuration, some security flaw in their data center, and due to which my data got breached, who is accountable here? Not Azure. I am the one. I am hosting my infrastructure in the Azure, so I will take responsibility. I need to report to the everyone about the issues, right? So that's how it happens in the organization. And then what are the components of the security governance, right? So first thing is the risk management is the one component, right? You have this effective risk management framework adopted. You are identifying all the risks. You are mitigating those risks. You are treating those risks, right? Then the resource allocation, right? So you will be able to allocate the resources properly to all the functions or all the issues which you have, right? You'll be able to measure the performance properly. You will be able to integrate with the enterprise need, enterprise strategy, enterprise vision, mission, right? And the strategy development. So you'll be able to create a good security strategy with good roadmap with which you will be able to establish a security governance. Yes. Now, what are the important? So, organization has a very effective security governance. So, what are the advantages the organization is getting out of it, right? What is the importance of doing this, right? Risk mitigation. So, overall goal is that only, right? You want to reduce the risk to acceptable level. My overall goal. I want to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. So, and whatever risks are there in my environment, for my organization is prone to data breaches. My organization, maybe my data center is located in an area which is very prone to maybe a natural calamity, like Japan. So Japan, right? It's well known for the earthquakes and tsunamis and all, right? So if I have a data center over there, then I need to make sure that I have one standby on the redundant data center located on some other island or maybe some other country. So that in case of any issues and all, that particular alternate data center will be able to tackle my infrastructure and challenges, right? So you are mitigating the risk. So if you have a good security governance, you will be able to identify these risks, you will be able to mitigate them. Then the regulatory compliance, right? So there are multiple laws, regulations, which all organizations need to adhere to, right? Like we have the GDPR, right? We have a HIPAA in the USA, right? There are other different rules, laws, right? There is a SOX compliance, right? You would have heard about SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3 reporting, right? So these are all regulations, right, which you need to adopt to. You need to make sure that you are compliant to that, right? You are a payment card industry, PCI, DSS, you need to comply to. So these, and then that's why what you do, you generally adopt a framework, right? So what is the framework? NIST framework. What does NIST framework do? NIST framework gives you a set of controls, set of guidelines, which if you adopt them, you will be able to make sure that you are adequately protected, right? Then the operational resilience. And I'll tell you, what do you mean by resilience?
The ability to come back or revert to a good position after something happens.
Hello. Yes, Suraj, you were saying something?
Yeah, the ability to revert to a good position or previous known good position or state.
Yes. So resiliency means withstands the your ability to withstand the failure, your ability to withstand an issue, your ability to withstand a critical problem, right? So and if you have everything a good in place, a good governance, a good infrastructure, everything is working good, then you will do that, right? Because you can never actually reduce the risk to 100%, right? Always there's going to be risk, but at least if the risk comes, you will be able to bring back to the operation at quickest as quickly as possible, right? And then it gives you competitive advantage. So if you have if you are not getting any data breaches, there are not any security threats, security issues, definitely you will be able to expand your business, right? A lot of people will approach you because one single security incident and your reputation is like gone in the market. So that's why you need to make sure that you have an adequate security. We have been talking from a long. Let's discuss some question on these topics.